Alright, so what we're going to do is we're going to create this little car here. It's actually fairly straightforward and simple. It does look a little bit more complicated than what it needs to be. But at the end of the day, it uses the tools that allows you to adapt all of these sorts of things in here. So if I went through and I changed, so this circular pattern all the way back here, and if I change that to like 8 units, what it will do is update it on all of the wheels. So it enables you to actually create it so you can make changes very easily for the whole thing rather than just doing all sorts of stuff. So I could change like how many holes there are in the wheel. I could do simple things as even changing, I'll just find this one here might do. So I could change the diameter of the wheel to like 75 millimeters. And then if I go OK, what it'll do is it'll update all of the wheels and make them bigger. Alright, so rather than drawing things 4 times, the process you do to make this actually allows you to just change one dimension and it will update all of them automatically. So what we're going to do is start a new part file. Make sure you're still working those metric ones as well and you just got your standard millimeter. And it's going to be pretty straightforward when it comes to constructing it. There's not too many like hard parts. It's just a matter of using the new tools that you guys aren't really familiar with. So you're just going to start with a sketch. Basically, all we need for our sketch is a couple of circles. So I'm just going to make up some measurements here. So 20 millimeters. And then I'm just going to go like 21. So that gives us a little bit of a gap. And then I'm going to put a 2-point center. So this one here. And just cover that. So I'm just going to go 25 by 25. Alright. Basically, what this is going to do is that's going to be your axle on the inside, and then the outside is going to be the body of your little car. So I'm just going to say that's done. So I've got 20, 21, and then 25. So when you click the extrude button, it's not going to do anything automatically like it normally would if you just got a single shape. When you've got multiple shapes, you need to select the profiles that you want to actually extrude. So in this case, we want the body, and then we also want the inside axle to extrude. And we're going to make that 15 millimeters, and then just press OK. So what that has now done is made the outside body of our car, and then you've got the axle, and then the air gap. So if you were to go and print this on the printer, it'll actually print it so there's a gap in there, and that center bit will just like fall out, all right? Because there's nothing holding it in there right now until we put our wheels and those sorts of things on there. But it allows that center bit to spin and move around and come out. Now, rather than extending the axle out, we're just going to go sketch and we click on the circle. Now, to make sure that we've got the same diameter as that, rather than drawing, so if I went and drew another circle, I could do it that way. Or I can just press this one here, which is called project geometry. What that does is it copies a shape. All right, so if you've got a dimension or anything you want in a sketch before, I can click project geometry, and then all I need to do is click on the outside ring of that inside circle, and it'll be yellow. So rather than me having to redraw it, that's just copied and pasted it into the new sketch. Does that make sense? All right, so these are all just things to make it easier. So then I'm just going to go finish, and all I'm going to do is extrude that out 2 millimeters. So now when you look at it, so I'm just pressing my shift and my middle scroll button down so then I can rotate around. It's got that air gap in there. Because if I just drew the wheel on the edge of that, what it would do is actually link into the body, and it'll make like one solid object, which is not what we want. So now I've got an air gap. On top of this one here, I'm going to place my wheel. So my wheel is just going to go on there. I'm just going to draw a circle, dragging it out. I'm just going to go 50 and then enter. All right, and that's my wheel done. Finish. Extrude that one out. I'm just going to say 10 millimeters. All right, so now I've got a single wheel, part of my axle, and then part of the body of my little car. A few things you want to do before you start mirroring this around and actually copying and pasting it and those sorts of things, you need to add in a few details. So I'm just going to go through, and where I think I'm just going to put some fillets and just change some different sizes and those sorts of things. So I'm just changing these up. You can do the same dimensions if you want. Another thing that's super handy is if you're going to 3D print things, you need to kind of figure out or consider how it's going to be made. So if this was going to be printed and it was sitting like that in the printer, what happens, if I can get that sitting flat, what happens is it prints layers going this way. All right. So the layer between the body of the wheel and the axle, all right, is only one individual layer. So what that does is it actually makes like a very good, well, an easy breaking point for the axle to the wheel, because it's not a very good join. It's just a straight join, so it's just an individual layer sitting on top of each other, and then it's just a massive change in dimension. So what I like to do is, if I've got areas like that, and it's very handy when it comes to doing other modeling, those sorts of things, I'll put a fillet in here as well. Okay, so what that does is it tapers down the layers in the printer rather than just jumping from like a really wide one to a narrow one, and it reduces the breaking point that it's created when it prints. So that allows us to get that detail in there as well. Now, I'm also just going to put some more fillets on here as well. I might just change this down to a 2. I'm just going to go through and fillet these edges around. So I'm just shift, middle mouse button, rotating around again. Just selecting all these ones. Not that one. That's not what I wanted. So why would I just be selecting these outside or these edges here? Why would I not select, so I'll just finish that so you can see what I've done. Why would I not select this one in here? Yep, so it's going to be mirrored. So if I put a fillet in there, basically what that's going to do is it have like, when you mirror it, it'll be like that, and then it'll be like dipping in the middle, because you've got two fillets that are joining together, which is not what we want. We want like a nice solid body and then just fillets on both ends. So we've now got our fillets in there. So the main body is getting very close. Now, what I want you to do individually is come up with an idea of what you could put on your wheels. All right, so the other example just had some holes in it, which is fine. You could do some really cool things when it comes to sketching on your wheel though. So here, for example, if I got my line tool, I don't know, I'm just going to draw some random stuff because that's just the way to do it. So if I had that sketch, for example, what I can then do, as long as you've got this center point in the right area, you can actually start to copy that sketch, all right, and rotate it around that point there. And then you can pick how many you want. So I could say 5, could say 6 or whatever. Now, there's two options to do it. You can rotate the sketch or you can rotate a feature. So there's one way to do your sketch if you want to do it that way. Or if I go finish, I might extrude this out. So for this one here, I might do it a little bit differently. I might say it's going to go out 2 millimeters or something like that. So now I've got on my tree, my model tree down here, I've got the extrusion there. Then I can do the same thing. So I can go to that one. My feature that I want to revolve is that one there, and then axis. The reason why sometimes it's easier to do it in a sketch is that to find your rotating axis for a feature can be quite hard, but essentially it's in the origin box, and then you've got the X, Y, and the Z axis. Now, sometimes it'll come up and preview where it is. Now it's doing it. So now I can preview which one I want. So I want that one there, and I might say that I want 7, and then it will evenly space it over 360 degrees. All right, if I click OK, then that's on my wheel. So rather than drawing it 7 individual times and making sure it's all the same, use these features, the pattern features, to get this done. All right, so that's the first time you use the pattern feature for this one, and then we're going to use it a few more times. So that's that pattern feature there. What I'd say is that is complete. All right, so you've got your wheel, you've got your axle, and you've got your body, you've got all your fillets and that sort of stuff complete. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to use my pattern tool again, and it's called the mirror tool, which is like that. So we are going to, you can select all the features, or you can literally, so if I just go down my tool, I'm just going to go select all of it because I want everything to copy. My mirror plane is going to be that inside surface of my body. As soon as I click that, I click OK, then I've got 2. All right. Once you've got that, all we need to do is make an extended of the center. So that's your front part of your car. So what you can do is actually go sketch onto this one here. And I could add a cylinder or a rectangle, whatever I want. Something in here just to join it together. Finish that sketch, and then I'm just going to extrude that out. And I need that to be past where my wheel is. So I'm just going to throw in a few dimensions here. I think 20 would be good. Should be able to do that fine. So same thing again. I might just put a fillet around here just to make it look a little bit neater. And then I'm going to do the same thing. So I'm going to go mirror, and I'm going to select all of my things because that's what I want. And then my mirror plane is going to be that bit there, so the end of my cylinder. And I'm going to click OK. So now I've got my little car. All right, so rather than drawing all the individual components, I've just used the mirroring tool twice, and I've gone from having a single wheel to having all 4 wheels and a full body on a car. Now, if you want to, this is when you can start modifying it a bit more and adding some cool things in there, depending on what you want to do. So, for example, in the example car, I've just put my name in the front, which is very easy to do for the people that haven't done too much text before. You just start a sketch, and then you just go text, click where you want it, and then you just write Mr. Right. Alright, if it's upside down and those sorts of things, you can click the rotate tool, and I could click on my writing, and then my center point can be anywhere. So if I just click here, it's going to start rotating around that center point like that. So I might put mine on a bit of an angle like that, which is fine. Drag it back in there. I might make it a little bit bigger so you can, whenever you change anything in text, you've got to highlight what's going on. I'll try 5mm, see what that does. Might not want to fit in there. So I might just center it and see what that does. Might make it a bit better. Yep. Finish that one. I might just extrude that, but cut it, which is the second one, and just say 1mm, and that'll cut out my name in the front. All right, and you can start adding some different features. So the whole reason we're going through these steps here is because this is how you can make something very easily and modify it easily as well. So if I didn't like my wheels, as I was saying before, I could go back into, so I'll just open up that extrude because that's this sketch for it, open up the sketch, and I could just modify this sketch and change it around a bit so it looks like that, and just go finish, and it'll update on all my wheels. Right, if you had to go through and update every single individual one, that would take you a very long time compared to just using the tools that I've just shown you then. Any questions about that? All good?